Hello everybody, ciao a tutti and welcome to Art with Ms.B. Today we're gonna spend some time together and learn how to draw cats. Simple but yet effective. We're gonna do two cute little cats in two different positions, so I give you options for your drawing. Remember that these videos are perfect for beginners, young students, whoever wants to support and enhance the fine motor skills as well as drawing skill. For this practice, you need a white piece of paper or your art journal, a pencil and eraser just in case, and then you can either color with coloring pencil or with markers. You can use any brand and any type of markers and coloring pencil that you have available at your house. Remember to subscribe to my channel, like my videos, share them, and use them every time that you feel that you need a little extra exercise to boost your drawing skill. These are perfect for students, for teachers, when you want to break the, regular activities that you do in class with students. If you don't have an art teacher available at your school, these are amazing. If you're homeschooling your kids, these videos are really, really special. So I'm gonna turn the camera and we can start together this practice. Okay, friends, let's start with our first cat over here and then the second one over here. We're gonna start with these nice lines. This goes like diagonal, curve, almost like a spiral. And then we're gonna add a circle over here and then two tiny triangles for the ears. Do not press hard with the pencil. Then we're gonna go down, open up just in a gentle diagonal, and then we're gonna set the front leg. We're gonna do the tail, nice and long, and then we're gonna add the details in the face. We're gonna add two tiny eyes, a triangle nose, 1 and 2. You can do a couple like 3 dots and 3 dots, and then we're gonna do all the other details after we color. We can add the inside, and we have our first cat. We leave it simple with the pencil, then we're gonna color, and with the Sharpie I'm gonna show you what to do to enhance the texture. Now cat number 2, we're gonna use 2 circles. So we're gonna do a bigger circle and then one smaller inside. Then we're gonna add the 2 triangles over here, and we can add maybe some different details in this one compared to this one. Then we're gonna do the details of the face, nose, mouth, eyes, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna add the legs. We're gonna do it this way because we are pretending that they are kind of hidden by the body because of the position of the cat. So we're gonna do front, a little bit of the back leg, nothing on this side, and front maybe stretch out a little more over here. Then don't worry about details. We're gonna add them with the Sharpie, and then you can do the tail anywhere you want. You can have a tail that comes out of the side. You can do it on the top or whatever. That is very, very funny. Now for coloring, I'm going to use markers, and you can use any color. Cats can come in many different colors. So just use what you have available. You can do with coloring pencil. And when we color, we use very short strokes. We want to see some texture, so you can actually come outside the outline. It's not a big deal. You can do this tiny, tiny, tiny little zigzag while you color around the line, and then just traditional colors instead, coloring technique when you color inside. I'm using a very light gray, first gray that I was, able to find. And you see I'm doing this tiny, tiny, tiny little zigzag strokes that go around the edges, right? Inside instead, I use more traditional coloring technique with tiny little strokes. We want to see some texture, right? Because the fur, the hair, so we don't want something that is completely smooth. You can change a little bit the direction of the strokes. Just make them short. The shorter, the better. Be intentional in your movement and don't press hard. The same we're gonna do for the tail. I'm going to do this tiny, tiny, tiny little zigzag line on top of the pencil line. So we can really camouflage, which means like we can really hide the line with the pencil without even erasing it. If you're doing the pencil, you can use the very similar technique of tiny short strokes in different direction to enhance the texture. Gonna do now nice and careful over here. And if you want, we can do like over here, we can kind of shape the face a little better. So we can add, now that we have the circle set inside, that we can add some like a texture, right? And we shaping the face of the cat just slightly wider to make it a little more detailed and nice and interesting. Don't worry about the pencil. You should be able to see the features, and then we're gonna retrieve them with a black Sharpie, okay? Now, if you want, you can even have fun and add some spots here and there, because you know that sometimes some cats, mostly the female, they come with spots of colors, right? So you can have fun and you can create some spots of colors using a very dark brown or a black. And then I'm going to use like a sort of an orange, because sometimes these are the three colors that are featured in some cats. I used to have a cat. Her name is Nina. She's still alive when we moved from North Carolina to New York, because the moving was so long and the distance, and she, you know, they were used to be in the country and not in the city. So I gave her to dear friend who had owned a farm, a little homestead. So she's really happy. And we, you know, there are two cats, Nina, Tigre. Tigre is striped cat, light gray and dark gray, while Nina was three-colored cat. So I'm gonna switch it to an orange now, and I'm gonna do some nice spots here and there. So you have the gray that I would suggest you, because it's the most neutral and it's the lightest. Set it as a foundational color, and then you can have fun and add these spots of color and make your cats look very simple, but a little more, as we say, like more realistic. If you add it to a drawing, it's like that you're showing more detail and more observation, right? Really, really nice. Now we are going to switch to the black Sharpie. We are going to retrieve all the feature. The secret, remember, my friends, is that you master like the pressure. So not too much, because otherwise your lines would be really, 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 you know, thick and too bold. It's going to be super difficult for you to work around. So very gently with this type of very dynamic lines, you can go around and you can do basically what we did before with the first marker that we use for coloring, with this tiny, tiny little zigzag. So instead to do a very straight line, you're going to kind of break the line a little bit. And then 1, 2, 3, and then we can do also the nail. So we can start to add even more details, right? Very heavy, nice and sketchy line. The same, we're gonna do it for the tail, like I'm not really not pushing at all on the paper. If you wanna add a few, like the same type of very tiny, tiny zigzag to enhance and support the texture, go ahead and do so. This is where the paw is. And doing tiny, tiny little strokes. Look how pretty, how cute this first cat is. And the first one is done. Now we're gonna do some coloring over here. I'm gonna start with this light gray. And then actually I would already do the same. You see what you can do? This is more like a little, it's fat. So we're gonna do just over here. We're going to create a sort of a cheek, right? We're going to work around the lines that we have with very simple geometrical shapes. There you go. And then remember, we're gonna do the same after the coloring with the technique that we just used. So we are going to color with gray. I'm using these tiny little strokes. You can use any markers that you have available. If you want your cat to be darker, you will go darker. Maybe if I can find a darker gray, I could do some stripes maybe on the tail. You can do an all red cat. Maybe you have a cat and you want to draw your pet. So make sure to look at the color of your cat and then you can replicate those in your drawing. This is a puffy, fatty cat. And it reminds me the cat of one of my dear friend in high school. This cat was so fat that she could, because it was a she could barely move. She would spend days just sitting, leaning, eating, and sleeping. She was really, really fat. We're gonna do the same in the face. Remember, don't add too much pressure. Proceed with these tiny little strokes because you create some nice texture, implied texture, which is exactly what we want because we are drawing a cat. Now let's see if I can find a little darker gray. That is not gonna be too dark though. Okay, so maybe I can dark up in like the ears over here. I can dark up some of the outline of the face. And remember, I'm doing these tiny, tiny, tiny little strokes as I show you. Maybe we can dark up a little bit the legs. And then if you want, you can do stripes like that. But instead to do like the lines, you're going to do these tiny, tiny little zigzag strokes and display them in a pattern of the line. If you want to do stripes also for the body, we're going to do kind of the same. So you can have this nice zigzag, leave some space, and then you will do another zigzag. Over here, you go around, follow the shape of the circle, which is the first shape that we trace. And then one tiny, tiny, tiny. Isn't it funny? Such a cute, funny, fat cat. Exactly how I like them. You like that. If you want to have a little bit of pink inside the ears, you can do a little bit of pink. Now we're going to switch to the fine Sharpie and we can do nice, little, very tiny, like very gentle and sketchy outline. We follow the same technique of tiny, tiny little zigzag line because in this case, I feel that it's better to have such a, like, instead of a neat, outlines for this type of animals and the style that we are trying to evoke. I feel that is way better. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. If you want to have more, do more. Just remember, tiny little pressure. You touch and release. Now we're going to do exactly the same that we did with the other design. We're going to go around and outline the whole thing, but instead to outline with a straight line, we're going to kind of outline with this zigzag type of line. And I know that I'm shaking the table, therefore I'm shaking a little bit the camera, but right? The same we're gonna do for the tail. And I feel that compared to many other easy tutorial, an easy step of how to draw cat. This one gives your cat a little bit more personality, right? Nails, haha, because this cat is plain, so it's definitely ready for action. And then if you want, you can add some nice texture with your black Sharpie to enhance the work and support the work that you did with the markers, right? So you will go with the same type of tiny little zigzag strokes here and there on the tail. Just remember to follow the direction, right? The size and the shape of what you are doing. And here we have how cute are cat number 1, cat number 2. You have 2 different alternatives, different positions, so you can enrich your drawing. And you see that we started with a very simple line, geometrical shapes. Here, 2 geometrical shapes plus the triangles, and then we develop everything after that. I hope that you had fun, and let's make sure that you keep practicing drawing with my tutorial. I see you in the next time.